Shout out to everybody who's rocking with us. We're at the middle of the segment, and we got, I think, a couple of more segments before we get done today. I appreciate you all for working with me. I know I can be a little bit much at times, but like I say, this is App Stupid. The point of the podcast is to have a deeper conversation that's geared around who's in the front office, who's in the coaching staff, and the moves that are made. We don't overreact to personalities on TV, the performance art piece, and we don't really care about the drama back and forth. Just give me my sports, how this shakes up, and hey, look, this is interesting. Have you ever thought about it? So, we just covered the implosion of the Detroit Lions and that come from ahead loss that they actually gave to San Francisco. High five, Campbell. Now we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch lanes. Gonna talk some college football. Gonna park it in the Big Ten. Penn State. Now this was a story that also came out of Yahoo and then multiple sources like 24/7 and also Football Scoop. But we want to start with Penn State adding Temple staffer Keith Bruno set to assistant Penn State special teams unit. So we covered Ohio State and how Ohio State has shot up the rankings in the transfer portal by getting the number one kid saying out of Alabama when that was Nick Saban's hand-picked successor. He entered the portal and he basically left along with 28 other kids from Alabama. And that whole situation has, and like I said, that whole situation is sad to see, but nonetheless, Keith Bruno's ongoing career as a special teams coach is getting a major boost. Sources tell Football Scoop that Bruno is leaving his post with Temple football to become the new special teams analyst for James Franklin and Penn State. How does that move the needle? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. With Jim Harbaugh going to LA and also taking the defensive coordinator with him to LA. I think either was the defense or the offensive. There's a new guy, and he's trying to retain his staff. Ryan Day has loaded up in Ohio State, and then you have the guys from James Madison who used to be all at Alabama. Now they're at Indiana. The dissolving of the Pac-12. Now those teams are in the Big Ten. So there's a lot of uncertainty that's going to take place. I don't know if Keith Bruno is a hire that really moves the needle. If he does, good. If he doesn't, like I said, I mean, you heard it here first. That's all I can tell you. You heard it here first. That's all I can tell you. So we'll get more into Mr. Bruno and the good folks in Penn State when we come back from a quick 20 from an unofficial sponsor of the show. This is Big Vern at App Stupid. Yes, White Castles. Try the crave case of sliders. It's actually a sliders, double sliders, chicken rings, onion rings, White Castles, the WC Lounge. Download the app or visit your good folks at the local White Castles or order online. White Castles. Okay, so in addition to his work at Temple, Bruno also has 3 years experience assisting coaches with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Also noted for his defensive work, Bruno has past experience as a defensive coordinator at St. Lawrence and was also on staff in a variety of other roles at his alma mater, which is Albright College. Penn State started its 2023 campaign at 8-1, and its only blemish on an 8-point loss to Ohio State before having a falter down the stretch. With losing 2 of its final 4 games, the Nittany Lions open up their 2024 campaign at the regional rival West Virginia, August the 31st. So I think that they will beat West Virginia. I don't think that Penn State will struggle with them whatsoever. Penn State, they do have the 14th ranked recruiting class nationally, 47th in the transfer rank. And I don't think that's enough for the Big Ten. They have 1 5-star kid, 6 4-star kids, and 9 3-star kids, 9 signed letters of intent. I like the 3 transfers. They stand out to me. You have Jalen Kimber, the cornerback from Florida, AJ Harris, another cornerback from Georgia, and Julian Fleming, wide receiver from Ohio State. So those transfers stand out to me because you get a dog at wide receiver, and then you have some corners that you just picked up from the SEC. Is that going to be enough? The schedule, they've got West Virginia on the 31st. That's going to be a win. Bowling Green on September the 7th. That's going to be a win. Penn State, they got them on September 21st. That's going to be a win. Illinois, this is when the Big Ten Conference is going to start for them. That's going to start on September the 28th. UCLA, a new addition. That's October the 5th. USC, October the 12th. Wisconsin, October the 26th. Ohio State, 11-2. Damn. Then you've got Washington, another new addition to the Big Ten. Purdue, 11-6. Minnesota, 11-23. And then in the season finale, they get Maryland. So they could, I don't know what USC is going to look like. I don't know what that's going to look like. Who knows? By the time they run into Ohio State, November the 2nd, Ohio State could be a buzzsaw, clicking on all cylinders. They said they got Bill O'Brien and Ryan Day. There's a quarterback controversy brewing with Sayin and then Aaron Nord, and I'm just like, whoa, that guy's gonna compete. And if you go back and you look at the Georgia kid, he's the second coming of CJ Stroud. The deep ball looks pretty nice. It's well thrown. He's not a run first guy. He reads the field really well. I'm just like, I was sold. When I looked at it. And Penn State, they've got some things across the board, that I'm not saying that they're a bad team, but they don't really get a test about what they look like until they play October the 5th against UCLA. And I'm not saying UCLA is going to be the new dog in town from the West Coast rolling into the Big Ten, but you'll get to find out how good Penn State is when they play one of those spread offenses that keep your guys out on the field longer than what they want to be. And guys are getting burned by speedsters that are just going deep, and then they hitting crossing routes. It's going to be something to see. That's all I'm saying. But them hiring Bruno, I don't know how that moves the needle one way or the other, especially when he's just assigned to special teams. That's an honest question. That's not trash talk. That's just an honest question. You got Penn State, the coaching staff, of course, James Franklin, the head coach. Then there's Terry Smith. Then there's Jawan Cedar. Now, one thing that did kind of bother me, the defensive coordinator, is Tom Allen. Tom Allen was at Indiana. Indiana's defense was never top 10. Indiana's defense was never holding people silent and beating them down. And that guy just got fired. I think he only had one winning season where he was 7-6. And if you can recall, Penix was at Indiana. He didn't do much. He goes to Washington. That kid is now runner-up for the Heisman Award. That kid's going to the NFL now. So the fact that they have Tom Allen as a defensive coordinator, that gave me a little bit to pause about, this guy, he's going to struggle against teams like Ohio State, Wisconsin, Purdue, because Indiana did it. Go back and look at those games. Indiana did it. He's going to struggle against those games. And now you got these West Coast teams that are on the schedule too. UCLA, USC, Washington. This thing's going to get out of hand, and it's going to get out of hand fast. D-line is by Deion Barnes, and then you got Marquez Higgins. He's a wide receiver, but he's also doing some recruiting. So, Happy Valley, you got your coaching staff and you got your base. Let me know, how do you feel about Keith Bruno? Is this going to be an addition that is much needed or well deserved, or is this just going to be a much to do about nothing? Be back for our final segment. This is Big Vern at the app Stupid. Share, like, and subscribe, and we're out.